Now the final portion of Thomas Cookson's review of Frontios. This was published on the 16th of the 6th, 19. It's not a long review, that's why I'm just reading out maybe the final-ish quarter of it. I think honestly there's something a bit too top-heavy about Frontios. Somehow the first half's quality just isn't quite maintained in the second. Perhaps the terrifying mystique of what could possibly be swallowing the humans into the earth is lost by degrees when we see the tractators in the flesh. Then we hear them speak and realise we're not quite the demonic stuff of nightmares we were led to believe. Furthermore, we see some of their victims underground kept alive and well, and characters being left unharmed by their pink tractor beam effects. It just feels it's undermined by its own urgency and become a bit too clean and sanitized. There comes a point where it feels like I'm watching the story more out of obligation than its complications or predicament genuinely hooking me anymore. I think ultimately it's down to how Davison manages to fool the Tractator's gullible leader into reassembling the TARDIS for him and simultaneously cutting himself off from his own race. It's in a disappointingly pat resolution. It's the same reverse psychology trick McCoy's doctor later used against Davros. The difference is there it had a devastating sucker punch effect that took us completely by surprise. This doesn't. There was a much more personal aspect of the confrontation. McCoy's doctor knew from experience exactly how to play on Davros' megalomania and rage and tempt him, what buttons to press. Here there just doesn't feel much dimension to the Tractator's pack leader, or any proper personal payoff. McCoy had to make Davros believably furious enough to cease thinking rationally first. This just assumes alien equals gullible. In the end, the Gravis is a foolish pantomime villain tricked by a child's ploy. Part of me feels Davison is treating this as kid stuff that's beneath him when delivering that line. There's the overriding sense carrying through from Warriors that this isn't a glimpse into the Fifth Doctor's clever riser instincts, but actually just a broken clock being right twice a day. Just another case of his usual idiocy managing to pay off this time against an even denser opponent than him. But it goes beyond that. From nearly the very beginning, it's felt like this era's undermined Davison's diplomacy skills, potentially a great source for theatrical drama, at every turn, showing him unable to even maintain harmony in his own TARDIS amidst constantly bickering companions. What chance could he have against the prospect of mediating between warring superpowers? Seemingly a po-faced, mechanical, dogged determination of the production team forced him to go of that hopeless route with his character and then show the inevitable ham-fisted, disastrous consequences. In short, it really does feel this is the best Davison can do as a trickster negotiator against gullible cartoon foes, and already we've shown up how that's not good enough. The limits of his character are still crushingly unpromising. The conceit just seemed to be that the Doctor was always some old-fashioned, programmatic, reliable hero character, and Sablewood somehow being radical and making him a different kind of programmatic, pacifist character after fan criticisms over Earthshock's trigger-happy Doctor, whose flaws were utterly ham-fisted and robotic. Maybe there could only be such a pat resolution after destroying the TARDIS, where essentially Bidmead wrote himself into a corner. The sense it all got too simple and easy after the more complex, challenging first half. Or maybe that for all Frontios aspires to a quality above Davison's usual era filler and fan service. It just isn't quite different enough from the crop.